I'm Stanislava Pinchuk. I'm an artist born and raised in Kharkiv in Ukraine. As an artist, I suppose I'm very interested in the changing topographies of conflict, and a lot of my projects over the last few years have been kind of through the canon and the context of various literatures and translations and retellings. I came here with the idea that I wanted to examine vampirism, and this idea that the historian Jakub Michanowski poses that Eastern Europe is vampire Europe. It began actually with a woman's body was found in Poland with a sickle around her neck from the 17th century, and she was suspected of being a vampire. And I thought, what an extraordinary parallel to communism, that an individual moves their head against the sickle, that it immediately becomes cut off. I was the first artist to arrive in the Vila 31 on the first night. I couldn't sleep, of course. I walked through every room and just sat there, and I had this huge epiphanies about my own history, my country, my family, about empires, about economic systems, about time passing, and being like a Sherlock Holmes, kind of navigating these bureaucracies. And I was surprised to find so many books of vampire stories, of examples of hypnosis, of conspiracy, of magic rituals, of secret societies. And this really fed into the starting point, and I think that's where the work had to become a film in this kind of horror genre somehow, to speak to the visual language, which is often also so much about the horror of a house, right? The vampire, for me, it represents the ultimate individual who will take and take and take to feed themselves, and they become rich off the blood. So, of course, this is a parallel for Hoxha, it's a parallel to Stalin, but it's also a parallel to the denunciations that people make and the violences and choreographies between people and the fear that the community lives with. And as you know, I was born still, and I was born in 1988. I was born in the Soviet occupation of Ukraine, and there is also this fear that the monster is somehow within yourself. You're a part of the system. You grew up in these kind of zombie years of post-communism. For me, this was why the question was also, how do you get rid of the monstrous inside of you, and can you become a post-colonial body or a post-communist body, and what does that look like? When are these things really over? And something that I found a lot in my research and trying to actually find Hoxha's private library and the listing and the inventory, which took months, was you still meet a lot of these kind of zombie communist apologist systems and kind of barricades of bureaucracy, and that actually, when does this regime actually end? I suppose what I'm really interested in is how to kind of overcome that haunting as a city, as a country, as a nation, but also as an individual, and I think that's why the work for me was about interrogating my own kind of subconscious and my own interiority, but also within the context of shooting the work within the room where Hoxha died, actually, and to show it in the room where Hoxha died, and to also really interrogate this completely bizarre relationship that communism has with the undead.